beautiful people. What is good? This is your guy, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports. And I'm here with my guy, Philly Foothills from the Nest Out West. And we are the Birds of a Feather podcast. And we really appreciate all you guys for locking in on this content. You guys are truly amazing. We're always grateful for the love. Just a friendly reminder, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you guys share the content. And also, we are live on two YouTube channels. We are live on the Nest Out West and we are live on Chalk It Up Sports. So make sure you guys lock in on the content. Make sure you guys subscribe to both channels, like both channels. Man, the love is always felt all across the world. Listen, I was checking my analytics and I'm getting a lot of love in Australia, the Philippines, New Zealand, the UK, Canada. Man, oh man. Hey, listen, Foothills, we going global, baby.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining us for another Birds of a Feather, the podcast. We appreciate you, each and every one of you. Like I always say, to all the content, you guys are the food and the water. Each and every one of you, all you subscribers out there, all you the people that have been loyal from the soil, as my man here likes to say, guys, keep us going. So make sure that you keep us subscribed, keep us locked in. Make sure you turn those notification bells. And like he said, make sure you hit that thumbs up for both channels because we are double live streamed once again. And the more and more we get the like buttons, the more it gets pushed out into that YouTube algorithm, the algorithm, as I like to call it. So, yes.
Let's go, baby. For sure, man. So much to discuss, so much to talk about, man. Let's get right into it. The Philadelphia Eagles have been making a move here and there in free agency. I think you and I can both agree that the free agency has been pretty lackluster, has been pretty underwhelming, to say the least. That's not to say that we didn't that's not to say we didn't hit the jackpot with Hassan Reddick. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm really glad we got that guy in the building for sure. Brought him in on a 3-year deal. We also brought in wide receiver Zach Pascal from the Indianapolis Colts. Not really a world beater by any stretch of the imagination, but a guy that's going to bring in a guy that's going to offer competition, and he's a different style of receiver that we have on the roster. And then signing Kaiser White, the linebacker from the Los Angeles Chargers, to a 1-year deal worth up to $5 million. So those are the three, I guess you'll say, out of house additions to the team, and those two linebacker additions specifically definitely make the team better, especially the linebacker room. But I want to get your initial thoughts on the moves we made thus far in free agency, because as it says below, we need to figure out the method to Howie's madness.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna try, but good luck for most people. Definitely, it's definitely never easy with Howie. But yeah, I mean, for the very few moves that we have made, I mean, we've also re-signed some people, brought some people back. We're bringing back Boston Scott. From what I've heard, we're bringing back Jordan Howard as well. So, I mean, it has been slow, but it's I think there is a method to his madness. I think Howie is kind of being careful with his spending because he knows what the cap is going to look like next year. So he doesn't want, and he's already been, they've already gave him his extension. So he's here through, in the next few years. So he knows he's going to be here and he's going to have to be dealing with this cap and things like that. So, I mean, yeah, like you said, the two linebacker signings, I really like. I like a lot. Hassan Reddick he's going to be able to play for his hometown team. He is fired up. He's excited. We actually have somebody who is very excited to be in Philadelphia, who wants to play for this football team. And that's a great thing to hear. It's a great thing to see. And yeah, I was kind of surprised that we got Kaiser White because this kid he's an up and comer, definitely. He had well over 100 tackles last year. He's a very, very productive linebacker. Had a great jump from year 1 to year 2. I think he let me see if I have the numbers still up here. He went from, in 2020 he had 77 tackles. This past year he had 144. So he doubled his numbers basically in tackles. That's a huge leap from year 1 to year 2. And yeah, he is definitely going to be a great addition to this linebacker room. And I could see depending on what kind of if we're switching in between 3-4 and 4-3, I could see a combination of the two of them, the two additions that we've added, along with TJ Edwards and Sean Bradley. I think we're going to have a pretty solid linebacker room. I wouldn't be surprised at all, I wouldn't hate it at all if we added on to this linebacker room in the draft. What are your thoughts on that happening now that we've kind of added these pieces at linebacker?
Like you, I'm happy about the additions. We've instantly gotten better at the linebacker position. We've added a lot of competition in that room, but just by bringing in Kaiser White, Hassan Reddick is going to be a bona fide starter. I believe TJ Edwards will be a starter as well. And remember, they gave him that 2-year extension last season. He earned that right to start at the very least right now.
Yeah.
Kaiser White, he could potentially be a starter, but he's also going to challenge guys like Davion Taylor, Sean Bradley, and those guys to step their game up at the end of the day. Now, when it comes to the NFL draft, just based off these two moves, bringing in Hassan Reddick and Kaiser White at the linebacker position, and their different style of linebackers as well. Hassan Reddick is the pass rushing type. He's going to be on the strong side. Then you have TJ Edwards in the middle. Kaiser White's going to be the weak side linebacker. He's the one. He's a safety converted linebacker, so you're going to see him drop back in coverage. You're going to see him used in a multitude of different ways, just like Hassan Reddick used in a multitude of different ways. But here's the thing: by picking up those two guys in free agency, adding two legit guys to the linebacker room, I don't think we're going to go linebacker in the first round, just based off of those moves alone. When you add two guys of that skill set, you're pretty much saying that you're going to go in a different direction in the first round. That's not to say they won't go linebacker in the second round or even the third round. I'm pretty sure they're going to draft at least one linebacker in this draft. But just based off these moves, I just can't see them going linebacker in the first round. I just can't. I see them most likely bolstering the defensive line, either going D tackle or edge rusher. If they go edge rusher, they might go Jermaine Johnson out of Florida State. They may go George Karlaftis if he drops out of the top 10. They may go Jordan Davis at D tackle. They may go Winfrey or Leal out of Texas A&M. So they have some options, but I really anticipate this team going D-line in that first round. And again, we got 3 first-round picks. I think it's going to end up being something like this. We trade one of those picks. Either one of those picks are going to be the 16th or the 19th overall pick that we trade. We pick 2 guys. One of those guys are going to be a defensive lineman, and the other guy's either going to be a corner if they drop or a wide receiver.
The thinking on that is not out of the realm of I think where the Eagles are at. I think you're pretty close. Definitely, you're right in that ballpark. The fact of the matter is that we still do need corner help. So there's a good chance, if Booth Jr. or if maybe even Elam, if either one of them are available at, it's like you said, at like 15 or 16, possibly, I wouldn't put it past this to maybe package up a couple of these picks to try to move up into the top 10. Don't put that out of the realm of possibility for the Eagles to do as well, because Howie's been known to make some moves on draft day. So I don't necessarily see us standing pat with all 3 of these picks. I think you're right. I think we're gonna make 2 picks out of these top 3, or out of these 3 picks that we have in the first round. I think some way, somehow, it's going to get combined down into 2. And more than likely, we probably, depending on the draft board of when we pick, more than likely defensive line. That's a good possibility. Corner is going to be probably pretty strong still. And if we're sitting at 19 and there's one of the top wide receivers sitting on the board, don't be surprised, Eagles fans. Don't be surprised, and don't lose your freaking minds if we take another wide receiver in the first round, because it's a possibility. They're talking about it more and more.
Yeah, for sure. I actually don't think they're going to try to trade up in the top 10. I really don't think so, because in my opinion, let's be honest, so far have we really heard any, or is there anybody in this draft really that we would consider to be a generational talent? Like someone who, like, for example, when Trevor Lawrence, right, at the quarterback position, like
Yeah.
he was a bona fide generational talent, based off everyone's evaluations. Uh, I'm trying to think who else we considered to be a bona fide generational talent. When Chase Young was drafted, he was supposed to be a generational talent.
Yeah.
There's always those guys that are considered to be freaks of nature, right? I don't really get that from this draft, in my opinion. I'll be honest with you, I feel that the
I
Eagles
said
are
that about Parsons last year going into the draft. I said it.
right.
He was one of those guys. I said that's a generational talent right there, and he's
I agree.
looking like it so far.
Right. And I just don't feel that nobody really is worth trading up into the top 10 for, if I'm being honest, unless you're trying to get, one of those top offensive linemen, but other than that, I just don't see the Eagles trading 2 picks to get one to move over into the top 10 and get a guy who you never know may not be even as productive as a guy that you may find, in that 15 to 20 range or 25 range. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I just don't think there's, and even from a quarterback position, if I'm being honest, the only way I trade up is if it's a quarterback that I know for a fact is bona fide. And there's no quarterbacks in this draft that are stamped like that. That's just my humble opinion.
Yeah, unless there's one that Howie and the crew are overly enamored with, and maybe they take a couple of maybe they take 15 and 16 and Jalen Hurts and package them up and send them to Houston and move up into the top 3. They would get the third pick with that deal. I don't know if maybe they would do that for a guy like Kyle Hamilton. I don't know. It'd be very interesting.
Yeah, it definitely would.
We're gonna have to do a live on draft day. Definitely, it's gonna be fun.
Here's the thing. I'm not sure. I think I may have for my job. I think I might have something lined up on draft day already. So
Okay.
yeah, I'm not entirely sure if I'm going to actually be free to do anything on my channel on draft day. But you brought up somebody interesting, Kyle Hamilton. He is a generational talent at the safety position. I will say that. He may be the only one, in my humble opinion. But other than that, I feel we'll be better served staying where we are and picking the guys that fall to us, because guys are going to fall to us. And then more quarterbacks, in my opinion. Some of these quarterbacks are going to move up in the draft. They're going to get chosen a little earlier, just because teams are desperate for a quarterback. And you never know, one of these corners may fall. One of these wide receivers may fall. If I'm the Eagles, the wide receiver that I'm looking at is Traylon Burks, the wide receiver at Arkansas.
Okay. And he's more of a later first round, second round guy.
6'2", 225 pounds. He can definitely go in that. He can definitely get drafted in that, I want to say, 12 to 20 range for sure. Mm-hmm. It's all about if he falls to us. So, Traylon Burks, man, he from in my opinion, from a physical standpoint, he has everything that we need, and he'll fit into this offense perfectly. Big body guy, can move the chains, plays the game a little with a little bit more physicality than the guys we have already. That'd be a perfect compliment to guys like Devontae Smith, who's your route runner, your wide receiver that can get instant separation. Then you got Quez Watkins, the guy who's your burner, your speed guy at the number 3. Then you bring in Traylon Burke, a guy who's 6'2", over 220 pounds, that chain mover, that possession wide receiver that can go up and get the ball. With that wide catch radius, that's the kind of guy we need. We don't have anyone that can legitimately remove the chains at the wide receiver position on a regular basis, and that's not afraid to run across the middle.
Yeah, I have to give it to you. That's a name I haven't heard a lot of people talking about as far as us drafting. But yeah, there's a few. I'm not big on Olave, but I like the kid from I like the kid for multiple reasons from Ohio State, and I like the kid from USC too. But Olave, I think is
Drake Olave out of USC. Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Yep, Olave to me is kind of like he's like a Will Fuller, but with a little better hands. That's basically what he is. And I'm not saying he's injury prone like Will Fuller, but he's kind of that straight line speed guy. He doesn't have much outside of that, and I'm not super high on Olave, but Yeah, that kid from the kid that you mentioned, he is definitely somebody that I hope is on the Eagles' radar.
For
Another,
sure.
another. If we were to wait to the second round to I think we're pick 51 in the second round, um, a guy that me and the East meets West guys are big on is Christian Watson.
Christian
If he's
Watson.
available,
Is that kid from North Dakota State?
yes, yes, sir.
I've
I
heard
think
of it.
he's ready for the NFL.
From a physical standpoint, he is a freak. Isn't he like 6'4", 6'5", like 230 pounds, something like that? And he runs like
Yeah,
a 4.3.
he's a big kid and he's quick, like you said. So yes, he's pretty freakish when it comes to his athletic ability and he's got he's tough. He's got good hands. He's built. He's like you said. He's got a good frame on him already. So he's NFL ready. He is.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's the kind of guy we need. I'll be honest. I'm tired of these little guys, and that's nothing against Devontae Smith. I love what he brings to the table. Nothing against Quez Watkins. He had a pretty good season last year. But I'm just tired. I'm tired of these I'm tired of these little guys. I'm tired of these guys who fit a certain blueprint of wide receiver. We need to break out of that mold. We need a physical specimen, someone who's
Yeah.
going to play bully ball.
Yeah. We need an Anquan Bolden type, somebody who is
Yeah.
not afraid, to get down, get dirty, get those tough yards, like you said, go across the middle, do whatever it takes, basically, to get the job done. And like you said, he's gonna let the opposing team know that it's not going to be fun when they come to, when they try to bring the wood to tackle him. He's going to bring it right back.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I want to pick your brain on this, right? Because, I know that Howie Roseman has been saying that they're all in on Jalen Hurts. I know that's what he's been saying, right? But we can't rule out the fact that he may potentially be looking at Kenny Pickett, because the word was they sent Brian Johnson down there to scout him at his pro day. They had dinner together, and that rubs me the wrong way. Now, Peter King, a really respected source in the NFL, works for NBC Sports. He indicated that the Eagles will not be going for a quarterback. He knows that for a fact, apparently. I don't know how true that is, but what are your thoughts on the Eagles potentially going quarterback, and or do you even believe that they will?
You're talking about in the first round?
In the first round, yes.
I don't see it. I don't see that happening. I mean, obviously, with our GM, crazier things have happened, so you never really know. But that would just be, to me, that would be a boneheaded move. It'd be a really bad look once again for Howie. It would sour people even more of not wanting to come here because of him and because they have to deal with him as far as dealing with their contracts and all that stuff. So I personally don't think that's going to happen. I don't see it happening. I think that Howie he's kind of got to stick to his word and at least give Jalen another year. If Hurts doesn't progress this next year, even if he plateaus or if he digresses, then if he goes in the reverse as far as production wise, as far as being able to read defenses, being able to see the field like he should, then that's another story. But yeah, I just don't. It's a pretty it's a pretty average quarterback class. I mean, usually there's a couple guys who are above and beyond everybody else. They're going to
Right.
go 1 and 2 usually, or right around there, or at least go in the top 5. But yeah, I don't know if I really even see. I mean, there may be a couple teams that take a quarterback in the top 10, but this quarterback class, like I said, is just pretty plain Jane. So yeah, I don't see us making a move like that. I think if we make a move if we trade up and move up into this draft, I think it's going to be for a defensive player, whether that's a corner, whether it's an edge rusher, whether it's a defensive lineman. We'll see, but
Right.
I don't know. the Eagles may shock the hell out of a lot of people, and they may stand pat. They may pick at 15, 16, and 19. They may just try to load up, and see how many darts they can get close to the bullseye as possible. You know what I'm saying?
Point. No, that's an interesting point because I think they would be better served at if they do make any sort of drastic moves. If there's no one in that first round that you're sold on after you made your first 2 picks, trade one of the first round picks so you can have another first round pick for next season. You know what I mean? And then and then at that point you don't have to feel pressure because this draft is deep with defensive talent. And you really don't have to reach in this draft if you draft correctly. That's why I'm actually glad we're nowhere near the top 10, because being at pick 15, 16, and 19, you have that. It's really hard to miss in those spots, in my humble opinion. Like you said, there's no players who are head and shoulders above everyone else. There's not many players in this draft that you can say without a doubt is head and shoulders above his peers. Maybe Kyle Hamilton at safety, but everyone else, in my opinion, I don't think they're head and shoulders above everyone else. I don't think there's a drastic difference between Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau. And then when you go after there, you go, George Karlaftis. Or then you got Jordan Davis, right? Jermaine Johnson. I just don't think there's a drastic disparity between their talent level because it all depends on where they go. Like none of these guys, in my opinion, are plug and play. Like where they can just fit anywhere and be dominant anywhere. I just don't see that. Maybe Kyle Hamilton, but I just don't see that anywhere else in this draft. So I don't think the Eagles have to be desperate. They don't have to make any sort of sudden moves or knee-jerk reactions. They can really play the field and just choose the guys they want. Really, you really can't miss in those spots.
Yeah, I mean, I think to a certain extent, I think Jordan Davis is plug and play. I mean, he's going to be a very dominant run defender in the NFL. That's something that we could definitely possibly use. And with Fletcher Cox possibly being on the last year with the organization, then that could be his his future replacement. So I wanted to ask you, since we're talking about defensive linemen, edge rushers, stuff like that right now, do you think with the injury to Ajabu, and man, speaking of that injury, I don't know if you saw the video of the guys. Nobody. That's just sad that nobody came over to help him. No, there was I don't know where there was no medical trainers or anything around. Like the guy literally walked past him to pick up the football while he's on the ground writhing in pain. That's a very bad look for the NFL in totality, and it's just a shame that even outside of that, just like the humanity of it, it's just like, man, nobody really even cares anymore. This is all just a real cutthroat business.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's even if you're not a medical professional, right? Even if you felt like if you would have moved, even if you would have did it, you could have easily walked over and put your hand on his shoulder. Hey, you good? Like
exactly.
It could have been like you could have done anything. Like I don't want to hear the whole the medical professional. If you move them, you may make the injury worse. I don't want to hear none of that. It takes nothing. It takes
you don't even have to touch him. You can walk over and just check on him. You know what I'm like you said.
It takes nothing to walk over, bend down, bend down, put both hands on your knees, bend down and look and say, "Hey, you good? What are you feeling? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, can you walk? Like, it takes nothing to have a simple check-in with that person.
Yeah,
so I don't want to hear none of that. Yeah. So you're right.
And sadly, it's a prime example of the lack of humanity that we have in this world today. It's a prime example of it. But I wanted to ask you, do you think he's still going to go in the first round? Or do you think he's going to fall?
No, he's not going in the first round at all.
You don't think so? You don't think somebody's going to take a chance?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all. He's
too much of a risky injury.
He tore his Achilles. Those aren't easy to come back from. ACL, science has improved. But once you tear that Achilles, you lose pop. You lose that burst. And, guys like Kobe Bryant never was the same from it. You know what I'm saying? Like Kevin Durant, he's still doing his thing, but I firmly believe Kevin Durant would be even more lethal if he never would have tore his Achilles. But I just don't think he'll go in the first round. I think a team will probably take a chance on him in the second round. But I just don't think. People already consider David Ojabo to be kind of a project anyway. So that injury didn't really help his case. And if he does fall, maybe a team would take a chance on him in the second round, maybe high second, maybe mid to high second. But I don't see a team choosing wasting their first round pick. Well, I don't want to say wasting, but I don't see a team using their first round pick on a guy that can't play right away.
Yeah, I mean, even the second round is maybe risky to some people if they're thinking about it, because I know it's a different position, but I mean, we remember Sidney Jones, tearing his Achilles, and then he was never really fully able to get back to that. Like you said, they kind of lose a little bit. They lose a half a step, they lose a little bit of that pop, and
Right.
yeah, it's not an injury where you're able to recover from it fully like you can in an ACL. So we'll see. I think it's sad. I was hoping that the Eagles were going to possibly draft him, but he's got another hill to climb as far as coming back from that injury. And
Right.
we'll see. I'm sure he'll get a chance in the NFL at some point. It's just he's just got to he's got to get over this next hurdle.
Big facts, man. Big facts. Now, I want to pick your brain about something that, since we're talking about edge rushers, what were your initial thoughts when you found out the Eagles were bringing back Derek Barnett? What was your initial thought? Your initial thought, right? Stay with me, Foothills. Don't lose. Stay with me now. What was your initial thought? And then after you took a few breaths and you actually sat back and relaxed, what was your composed thought?
Well, when I first heard about it, it was chat, and it wasn't like an official like tweet from somebody legit. It was just like somebody was like, "Oh, we're bringing back Derek Barnett," and I thought they were messing around. But then I went and when I saw it was for real, I literally thought that I was in like a Twilight Zone. I don't understand. I mean, people are saying, "Oh, look, we're gonna get him for cheap, and he's gonna be, he could be a good depth piece for us." What I guess maybe if and they probably less. I'll give him less than a 3% chance of resurrecting his career. I don't believe in Derek Barnett highly at all. I think it was I would rather have brought back anybody. I would rather have brought in anybody else. But I'd rather bring in Javon Clowney, and I do not like that guy either. But I would rather bring him in because at least he's going to get you a little bit of production. Derek Barnett has shown very little. Yeah, he has. He's what do they say? He's piled up some quarterback hurries. Come on, really? Is that what we're basing it on now? This kid has got more freaking personal fouls than sacks. It is an absolute.
You said that, right? You want to hear the numbers? He has 26 total career penalties to 21 and a half career sacks.
He's got a ways.
Career penalties.
He's got a ways to go just to even it out.
Bro. He would have to get a penalty for the whole season for him to even he would have to go on a tear.
And that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because he is not. I'm telling you, it has to do with in between the ears with him. It is a mental thing with him. He is not. Something is not right with him upstairs. You see all the. That has to be it. Either that or he is just like the goofiest, stupidest player that has ever played in the NFL. Because the things that's the only way to explain the some of the stupid ass penalties that he has committed over the years. Yes, he recovered Derek Barnett's strip or Brandon Graham's strip sack on Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Yes, that was great. That's probably going to be the highlight of his career.
Facts.
And he has a ring. Yes, he does. But the production has not been there, and I mean, we better get him on a really, really team-friendly deal for me to even try to even start to be okay with this. And if this means that we are going to deter away from drafting a defensive end, if this means that if he's going to get any kind of dominant playing time, I'm not okay with that at all. I am absolutely, to me, that's bass backwards. I want to see Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat out
I never
there.
heard that before.
I want to see us draft an edge rusher, maybe a couple, maybe another one
right.
in the later rounds. And yeah, I couldn't believe it. I absolutely could not believe it. I thought maybe Doug Peterson, would give him a holler, but I guess nobody wanted him. So yeah, Howie better work a really, really sweet deal. That's all I got to say for us on that one.
Well, apparently it's a 2-year deal, and knowing Harry Roseman, that thing is probably laced with so many off ramps. There's no way. There's no way that contract is fully guaranteed anyway. Like he probably knowing Harry Roseman, there's so many incentives, so many contingencies, in that contract. And I'm pretty sure if he's a bonehead again, they're going to off him next offseason. And the sad part about it is, they say the greatest ability is availability, right? But the worst ability is being a liability, and that's pretty much what he's been his whole career. A liability.
That's a good one. I haven't heard that one before. That's very good, Tone. I like that a lot, and that's very true with him. It 100% is. And if I'm Howie, I would have him at a, if not league minimum, real damn close to the league minimum. I wouldn't have him hampering my cap number at all. That's for sure. I would show him a number, and I'd be like, this is what we got to offer you. If you don't like it, we'll find somebody else because you're only going to be a depth piece. You're not starting on this football team.
Right. You're right. We have to. I think it's imperative we draft the edge rusher. Knowing the fact that we were dead last in sacks and quarterback hurries. And also when you watch that Super Bowl that that ended, with 7 sacks, I believe that occurred. Your pass rush and your offensive line can change the complete outcome of a game. And Harry Roseman has always lived and died by the trenches. So I really expect him to either draft Jordan Davis if he's there, or Jermaine Johnson at Florida State. I really see that happening.
Yeah, I definitely could see that happening too, because when, like you said, you have a dominant front on the defensive side, especially, it filters down to the defense. It makes things easier for the linebackers. If you could get pressure with your front four on a consistent basis, it makes things a lot easier for your defensive backs, for your safeties. So, yeah, you have a dominant defensive line like we saw in the Super Bowl with Aaron Donald and company. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're gonna get results. You just are. The quarterbacks can step up in the pocket. Yes, they can. They can buy time that way, or they could try to scramble on the outside. If you have good edge rushers to set the edge, and if you got good guys up the middle like they did with the Rams, getting pressure on a consistent basis, collapsing that pocket, there's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. They're going to smother you. You're going to be like biscuits and gravy, smothered and covered, baby.
That's funny as hell. So let me ask you this, man. Let me ask you this. As we all know, Harry Roseman's offseason hasn't really been the most climactic. It's been pretty dry. But why do you think he's been so reluctant to be aggressive? Because there's been plenty of opportunities for him to go after, a good wide receiver in free agency, go after these guys that are trying to get traded. He's had opportunities to really help Jalen Hurts. Why do you think he's so reluctant to really give Jalen Hurts the weapons he needs to be successful? Is it a money thing? Is he being cheap? Does he not want to commit this amount of money to these guys? What do you think it is?
Yeah, I think a lot of it does have to do with I think it's a combination of things, but a combination of a couple things. But I think mostly it is the money. I think it also too is that Howie isn't fully sold on Jalen, and if Jalen doesn't really prosper this year, and take that next step that we want to see him take, then I think Howie's trying to leave the door open, to possibly, bring in a different quarterback next year, whether through free agency or it's, drafting one. I don't know. I haven't heard much about the next year's college class as far as quarterback goes, and I'm not a big college football guy, so I couldn't really even tell you, but I'm just trying to look at it as how possibly looking at it. And another thing too, the the cap next year is gonna he's got to he's I think he's trying to be real careful what he does, and I think he's trying to be careful with how money, and he also maybe wants to see if some of these younger guys, guys like maybe we don't draft in the first round, maybe interior defensive lineman, maybe we get an edge guy like a George Karlaftis, and maybe we depend on player development in a guy like Milton Williams instead of being our next defensive tackle take on the starting position after Fletch is gone. Things like that. Player development at the wide receiver, and even Quez Watkins, can he develop and maybe really emerge as a starting wide receiver, kind of fade away like some of these younger, they don't develop when they're not developed right. So, now knowing that he is extension, obviously he's going to be here for the foreseeable future.
Right.
And I agree with we recently on our East Meets West podcast. Make sure you guys check that out. Wednesday nights, usually at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But 500 was on with us past week, and he's come to the realization that, and he believes, and I think I'm starting to believe it too, that Howie Roseman's never going to get fired from this football team. As long as Jeffrey Lurie is the owner of this football team, Howie Roseman's not going to get fired. The only way he is going to, not be the GM for this football team is if he steps down. If he resigns and moves on to, whether he just retires or he goes on to something else in his career. But yeah, I think I'm coming to that realization too, because Howie I think he's kind of biding his time, because he knows that the cap is not going to be in our favor the way it sits right now come this time next year. So he's got to, he's thinking ahead, I think, and he's trying to, give us a few pieces, but obviously nothing is, we haven't had that, that home run of a signing that's just blown people's socks off, so to speak. But I just I think that he's trying to be very, very cautious spending, because future that is like that next year.
I can feel that. Yeah, the TV money is going to kick in soon, and like you said, maybe he's biding his time. Maybe he's just trying to do just enough this season. Make some modest moves,
right?
And he doesn't want to fully jump out the window on a particular guy. But here's the good thing about this situation in totality. You're in a low risk, high reward situation with your quarterback. At the end of the day, this team is not necessarily built to win right now. We can be competitive. We're gonna give some teams some headaches, sure, but we're not built to win the Super Bowl right now. And it all depends on how certain players pan out. And they're in a low risk, high reward situation with their quarterback. The low risk being that you don't owe him that much money. He's still on a rookie deal. He's going to his third season. You're going to have to pay him after next season if you decide that he's the guy, he's your quarterback. And if he is the guy, if he takes his numbers to a whole nother level, if he takes his career to a whole nother level, then you win. So the Eagles are in a win-win situation. They're in a low-risk, high-reward situation. There's no need, if you really think about it, to make a knee-jerk reaction. In my humble opinion, I just feel that you can at least make one move that'll show us, hey, you believe in this kid. And no move so far has shown that they fully believe in this kid. All we're forced to do is really take their word for it. And that's not really enough for me. I need you to help this kid Devontae Smith, take some pressure off him. You know what I mean? I just need something a little more. Now, again, bringing in a guy like Zach Pascal, yeah, he's gonna challenge these young guys, to step their weight up and for them to, fight for their right to be in the starting lineup. He's going to challenge guys like Jalen Reagor. He's going to challenge Greg Ward, challenge J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. He's going to challenge all those guys, even Quez Watkins. But, Zach Pascal, he is a big body guy. We'll see if he's able to take his career to another level. in Philadelphia, being under Nick Sirianni. He has a strong relationship with him, but and it just would have been good to see him make a move that indicated that, hey, okay, he's trying to get this kid some weapons, so so he can take his game to another level. But there's still some options out there. You got Julio Jones, who's available. You got Jarvis Landry, who's available, but the word is he's looking for a big deal. Howie Roseman's not going to give that up.
Right.
And then you got Devontae Parker, who the Eagles could potentially trade for from the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins brought in Tyreek Hill. They got Jalen Waddle. They signed Cedric Wilson from the Cowboys on a 3-year deal. So Devontae Parker is kind of the odd man out. And, I'm pretty sure the Miami Dolphins are looking to recoup some of those picks they gave up for Tyreek Hill. So it's going to be interesting to see what Howie Roseman does. Overall, he doesn't have to rush. He doesn't have to necessarily make a flamboyant move, to sort of speak. He can sort of just pace himself and survey the lay of the land. He doesn't really have to. I mean, let's be honest. The NFC isn't loaded in any way, so he can honestly gauge how good his team is as presently constructed in this NFC. And it's a path of least resistance. The AFC is loaded; they're going to cannibalize each other. And by the time these teams get to the playoffs, they're probably going to be so worn down. It's going to be it's an arms race in the AFC, and in the NFC, the teams you have to worry about really the Rams, Buccaneers. I think the Packers are going to take a step back, in my opinion. Losing Devontae Adams was huge.
Yeah.
And who knows if they make a move to try to bring in DK Metcalf or another wide receiver. You never know. But I just feel like losing Devontae, Aaron Rodgers' most trusted confidant on the football field, losing that guy is huge. And I really feel like the Packers are going to take a step back. I believe the San Francisco 49ers are going to take a step back. The Cowboys are going to take a step back. I think the Rams got better at an Allen Robinson. I think the Buccaneers are going to still be a threat.
Did the Rams add Bobby? Did they add Bobby Wagner too? I know they were talking to him.
They were not officially, but here's the thing: Bobby Wagner wants $11 million per year on a 1-year deal, and he's worth it. The problem is the Rams can't afford him. So he met with the Rams, he met with the Ravens, and the Rams want him to take a team friendly deal. But we'll see if he does take it. He doesn't have to. Another thing, Bobby Wagner doesn't have to rush to make a move either. He can wait until after the draft, wait until somebody probably gets hurt, until his services are, until a team is desperate and willing to concede to his demands. He doesn't really have to make a drastic move. He can really just take his time. And trust me, a contender will call.
Yeah, they will definitely. There's the opposite side of that coin. That the longer that the time goes on, if nobody is calling, then their price tag is going to go down. It definitely is. A guy like the Honey Badger, the more time goes without him having any offers on the table, you get past June 1st, and his price tag will get a lot cheaper. That's for sure.
That's a fact, especially depending on how bad you want to play. The closer you wait to get to that season, your asking price is slowly, being knocked down little by little. That's kind of
you get that house note for the house in Malibu. You're like, oh, yeah, I think I need to get some game checks going. Yeah, let me get a contract somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And then that's kind of what happened. That's kind of what happened with Steven Nelson last year. He tried to survey the land.
Exactly.
And Howie Roseman, somehow, some way, because the rumor was we was going to get him, but Howie Roseman definitely put his bid in, but he was patient. Somehow, some way, Howie Roseman was confident enough that the guy was going to be there post draft, and he signed him. So maybe, who knows? Maybe we look at Bobby Wagner, but
there's a guy that's been rumored on Twitter. Even it's been confirmed that his wife was talking to Darius Slay's wife.
Stephon
Gilmore. So that's kind of starting to seem a little bit like last year with Steven Nelson, being on Twitter, and he was following a lot of our players, and he was, I think he was following the Eagles and things like that. So yeah, when players put out certain signs, I think the Eagles are definitely if they sign Gilmore before the draft, we're not taking a corner in the first round. You could cross that off the list too.
Agree. And if we do sign Gilmore, you can make an argument that the Gilmore Slay combo is arguably the best cornerback tandem in the NFL. You can make an argument for that.
Definitely. I would.
I could the most seasoned, the most experienced, the most talent. You can make an argument for that.
Yeah, I mean, name me another one that's in that upper echelon. I think there's not very many out there. Not very many I could think of.
Right. Darius Slay, he may not be top 5 anymore because of age, but he's top 10 definitely.
Oh yeah, he's still very productive. Still very productive, and he's got that nose for the end zone. You get the ball in his hands, and he could return it from anywhere on the field. So, when he gets that, when he ran that, when he gets that motor going, and he gets those interceptions or the fumble recover that he had this past season.
Yeah,
it almost feels like when he's dodging out everybody out there, and he gets to the end zone on some of those long returns. It almost feels like Dion out there. It's got that Sanders-esque-ness to him.
Yeah, he made it clear though that every time he get the opportunity to touch the ball, he looking to the end zone. He not trying to stop at all.
Hey, that's the players I want, baby. That's the players I want.
Definitely,
love it.
Man.
Love Big Slay.
I'm super excited, man. We got like another 15 minutes left, so we're rocking hard. We got 12 people in the live stream. Make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. We're so grateful. And just a friendly reminder, we are live on 2 YouTube channels. We are live on Chalk It Up Sports, my channel, and we're also live on Foothills, the Nest Out West. So make sure you guys are liking and commenting on all the content. Make sure you guys are subscribed. The links are available down below the stream. So make sure you guys click the links and go support Foothills, man. Support Chalk It Up Sports. We really appreciate all the love you guys are delivering, man. The content is always going to keep grinding it up, and that's just how we live in. So, let me ask you this question, Foothills. Where would you necessarily rank Jalen Hurts in the NFC at the quarterback position? I guess what I'm trying to ask you is Jalen Hurts a top 10 quarterback in the NFC?
That's a good question. And I seen a list somebody put out the other day that I thought was pretty accurate, and I'm pretty sure he was in the top 10. Pretty sure he was like number 7.
Right.
So I think they had it in the NFC. They had it.
Matter of fact, this is what I'll do for you. This is what I'll do. I actually have. I made this list last week, and I stand pat with this list. So this is where I got him ranked, right? So
okay,
I have, and maybe this will give you like a little bit of a framework or a way to gauge it, right?
Yeah.
So I have Aaron Rodgers at number 1.
Yep.
Tom Brady at number 2. Matthew Stafford at number 3. Dak Prescott at number 4. Kyler Murray at number 5. Jimmy G at number 6. Kirk Cousins number 7. Jameis Winston number 8. Carson Wentz number 9, and Hurts number 10.
Okay. That's interesting.
Now the reason I have, because some people may say no, Hurts is better than Wentz. The reason I have Hurts behind Wentz is because Wentz is still a better quarterback than him. He still can make certain throws that Hurts can't. Now Wentz may be a bonehead. He may lose you a game because of the decisions he makes. He may be a risk taker, but I still think Wentz is a more technically sound quarterback than Hurts. And then Jameis Winston, I feel like Jameis doesn't get enough love in terms of what he was doing with the Saints before he got hurt. Before he got hurt, the Saints were 5-2. He was slinging a rock. And I feel like a lot of people tend to go back to that 30 for 30 season where he had 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions. But yeah, Jameis Winston is a perennial 4,000 or 4,500, 5,000 yard passer in the NFL.
See, that's the thing with Jameis Winston, and I've been saying this for a while now, is that the kid would have been so better off if he would have got drafted by the Saints. Yeah, and I say that because he lacked that. He needed that discipline, that structure, that discipline coaching that he didn't get when he was first in the league, and that the bad habits just manifested themselves and they grew and they
Great
got
point.
bigger and bigger.
Great
And
point.
if I don't know if those sometimes you get stuck into bad habits that you can never break them, and he may be at that point because it's just it's kind of
Now,
it
granted,
gets
he was trending. He was starting to knock the bad habits down. Sean Payton really was reeling him in. It was the
he
perfect
was
situation,
he
and
was
then he got hurt. And but he just seems to have been, in my opinion, he's been maturing as a man, maturing as a player, maturing as a leader. And I believe Jameis Winston is going to have a great year this season. Now I don't know how he's going to continue to develop under this new coaching staff in New
that's
Orleans.
what I worry about, right?
I worry about that. Will he feel like he needs to do too much? You never know.
Yeah,
Michael Thomas is coming back, so he'll have a legit weapon to throw that ball to. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, go ahead.
I mean, just that. I mean, I can agree with you to the the Wentz over Hurts argument that you know Wentz is just he's more experienced at this point, and like you said, he can make some throws that Hurts can't right now, and he probably he probably sees the field better than Hurts right now at this point in their careers. So
A figment better,
yeah
not drastically better, but definitely better.
yeah
And
just and that's
everything
probably
else
just because
though,
of and that's just because of the experience. You give the you give Jalen the experience that Carson has had, then he's probably going to be he's probably going to be better than Carson is. So you know I I can't argue with your list that much at all. The Jimmy G is he is he's middle of the road like as far as the top 10. So I can't argue with that. Kirk Cousins is man, Kirk Cousins is like he's it's crazy with him. He's like mastered the art of
the
getting
finesse.
fully guaranteed money with not producing hardly anything out there on the field, especially as far as like playoff wins or anything like that. I mean, he couldn't even win anything with the same team that freaking Case Keenum took the dang Vikings to the NFC Championship with. It's
That's a
like
good point. That's a good point.
wow. It's just
Yeah.
like yet he has made over 200. I think it's like he's made over 240 million fully guaranteed. You don't hear that fully. You're starting to hear that a little bit more in the NFL. Like Deshaun Watson just got all that fully guaranteed money from Cleveland.
Man.
You usually hear that in baseball. You hear that in basketball. You don't usually hear that in the NFL, but it's starting to come around more and more. And I'm not a big Kirk Cousins guy at all. I've never seen it. I know the new coach is high on him because they have their history from when they were in Washington together. But yeah, the Vikings aren't going to be anything to worry about. Like you said, the NFC is not going to be that great this year. It's not.
Yeah,
It's going to be
man. Yeah, like
it's gonna be
those
a good
guys.
time for a team for an average team to maybe rise and take advantage of it.
Absolutely, and those guys I mentioned, like the guy, like after Rodgers, Brady, Stafford, Dak, all the way through Dak, Kyler, Jimmy G, and Cousins,
Yeah,
they're give and take with me because Kyler Murray, in my opinion, he took a step back in that playoff game. I never seen him look so discombobulated as a thrower, and that team was regressing as the season came to an end. And once D Hop went down, he had a hard time elevating the guys around him. So I got to hold that against him. But Dak, I just feel like give or take, you might have a day where Dak is better than Kyler. Kyler may be better than Jimmy G one day. Jimmy G might be better than Dak. Cousins may have a better week than Dak. Like that, like those that four, like after Rodgers, Brady, Stafford, it's really like on a week
yeah,
by week basis, week to week basis.
it very much so is because the and that's where you kind of separate that elite from that secondary tier. Because that secondary tier is a lot less consistent. Like you said, it could be week to week. It could be any one of those guys could be they could jump the other one because of their one guy could have an off week and the other guy could bounce back from having an off week the week before. So yeah, that's what really separates the elite from the rest is just how consistently good they are week
Yeah,
in week out.
and the beauty of that is that's where Hurts can sneak in like a thief in the
Hmm.
night because after Rodgers, Brady, Stafford, those are considered to be the top three guys in the NFC. He can weave his way through and surpass guys like Jameis, Carson Wentz, Cousins, Kyler, Dak. If he takes his game to a level that we didn't anticipate, and that's the thing about Jalen Hurts this season. And we're going to close it out on this topic. What's your stat prediction for Jalen Hurts? And I don't even mean running, because we know what he's going to do running the ball. He's going to give you over 500 yards rushing, probably going to rush for about 6 or 7 touchdowns throughout the year. You're going to get that. That's a foregone conclusion. From a passing perspective, what are your final thoughts on Jalen Hurts as to what you expect or what you would like to see from him from a stat perspective to indicate that he has taken that next step? Because we all know he has to improve his vision, his field vision. We all know he has to improve his pre-snap reads. We all know he has to get better at ball placement and throwing with anticipation, right? But from a numbers perspective, strictly, what would you like to see from him? And just to give you some context, he threw for over 3,100 yards this season, 16 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. So what do you need to see from him from a stat perspective to show you that, okay, he is the guy that I want to invest in long term?
So I want to see the completion percentage go up more, because that was not even at 62%. So I want to see that. I want to see that at least at 70.
Wow. See, I was going to throw him some bell and say, give me 65 or 66.
Okay, I want to see some improvement. As long as I'm seeing that arrow go up, then that's okay. Then yeah, I got some wiggle room definitely there as far as that goes. Yards that can, I could see him being right around that. I could see him being right around that 4,000 yard mark next year. That's where I want to see him at. Touchdowns, I'd like to see him put up another 5 to 10 passing. So you're looking at like 20 to 25. And the interceptions, I think I want to definitely keep it under 10. And that would, his passer rating at that point would be well above, his quarterback rating would be well above 90. So probably approaching the 100 mark at that point. So I think that's a pretty.
How many yards did you say again? How many yards did you say again? I think I missed that part.
Like I would say right around. I would be happy with like 4,000 yards, even if it was like a little less than that, like 3,800, 4,000 yards. That's a pretty big jump from last year. He didn't even have 3,200. So, that would mean that the wide receiver core are having a big production jump as well. So that's going to be a win-win for everybody at that point. What do you think as far as next year's numbers for him? What do you want to see?
For me, if I'm being completely honest, and maybe I'm being a little bit, too optimistic, I would like to see over 4,000 passing yards, which in my opinion is very light, because if you do the math on a 17-game season, that's only 235 passing yards average in a game. That's very doable. A quarterback in the NFL, that's doable.
That's true.
And on top of that, if you look at the passing leaders for this past season, the top 10 guys threw for over 4,000 yards. Anybody outside of the top 10 threw for under 4,000 yards. So there's a clear distinction between the top 10 and everyone else in terms of yardage. So if he can give me 4,000 passing yards, which is still fairly light, which is still below league average in my opinion, give me 4,000 passing yards, he can definitely add some respect to his name. I need him to complete at least 66% of his passes. 66% of his passes, and you might lose me on this, but or I might lose you on this, but I need 30 passing touchdowns. I need 30. I need 30 passing touchdowns. No more than 10 interceptions. No more than 10.
Yeah, because 30. That's 30 in a 17-game season is just a little over 2 passing touchdowns a game. So
actually it's a little under. It's a little under 30 divided by 17. Yeah, because it's 15 is half of 30. So
right.
Yeah,
you're right. So it is a little. Yeah, you're right. It's a little under two. That's pretty reasonable. I don't think that's out of the realm either. So, I mean, I think we both have a pretty good um, idea of what we expect out of Jalen next year, and we got to remember too that I think we're hoping that we have a balanced offense and that maybe we're even a little more run heavy than we do pass, and we try to control the ball, control the line of scrimmage, and really set the tone and be a physically dominant team with this offensive line. Win up front, like we were talking about earlier, on both sides of the ball, and let it filter down from there. You know what I mean? So that I think those numbers are not crazy at all for Jalen next year, and I think he can do it, especially if if Quez takes another step up. Definitely, the wide receivers are going to have to. They should. I hope they really take advantage of getting a veteran in like a Zach Pascal, because he's been in this league for a few years now. He knows how things work. It's kind of a and it's and I hope they use that kind of that outsider's perspective, kind of a, the outside looking in type of perspective from him as much as they can, and I hope the coaches like a guy like Aaron Moorhead is able to let Pascal coach these guys up just as much as he is, because I think they could benefit from that very much. So, there's some little things that I've seen Quez do on tape that he can clean up and that he can get better at. His first step off the line, his breaks out of his route, little things like that. His hand fighting, there's little certain things that guys like a Quez Watkins can make, and hopefully Zach Pascal can help him realize those and get him right, get him corrected, and get him going in the right direction. It's I hope we're not done at the as far as adding weapons on the offensive side of the ball. I hope we still maybe possibly address the wide receiver, whether it's picking up another free agent or if it's drafting a guy. I'd probably rather lean towards drafting a guy, maybe like in the second round, like I was saying, like a Christian Watson. If he falls to us at 51, I would be ecstatic, absolutely ecstatic to get a guy like that. I think he would be he's a game changer, and I think he would fit in our offense very, very well. He'd give Jalen Hurts a very physical receiver that we are lacking. So, yeah, I just hope that how he is able to swallow his pride this next year and not fight for playing time for guys like Derek Barnett, Jalen Reagor, yes, JJ Arcega-Whiteside. They have to earn it. If you're not producing out in the field, then go sit on the bench. Give me somebody else, because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see inconsistent play and us be tolerant of that just because they were high draft picks. No, at some point you got to cut the cord. You got to snip it. You got to call a spade, like our man LB likes to say.
Yeah, facts, man. That's a fact, man. And on that note, you guys, this was the Birds of a Feather podcast, man. This is always a great experience with my guy Philly Foothills. My brother in arms, man. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in and on the way out, and make sure you guys are subscribed to the content, especially if you're new. We love newcomers, we love new faces, new individuals, and we love new hot takes, because at the end of the day, it's all about you guys. And our goal is to keep giving you guys this hot fire, give you guys this fuego content. And, Philly Foothills, any final words before we get out of here, my man?
Just as much as we get impatient with us going very slowly in free agency, just try to what is the old saying? Stop and smell the roses. I know life in general just comes at us at such a fast pace these days, with the way we get technology, the way we get our entertainment on the TVs with the streaming and everything. I've been saying this, and I'm going to keep saying it. Don't let that dictate your patience in life. Be patient, be humble, be loving of each other as Eagles fans. Don't let these different topics divide us as a fan base. Because like my sign says over here, we fly until we die. Remember that. Remember that, everybody, and love each other.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. We appreciate you guys. Y'all was tuned into the Birds of a Feather podcast. I was joined by my man Foothills from the Nest Out West, and I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II from Chalk It Up Sports, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. One love, stay humble, stay healthy, and most importantly, stay hungry.